There's never a dull moment. You got people coming and asking, Jesus, will you heal me? Jesus, will you cast a demon on this guy over here? Hey, Jesus, tell us a little bit about this kingdom that you're talking about. And it was question after question after question. And Jesus loved it. He really did. He enjoyed, as he still does today, enjoys being with people. He enjoys answering questions. He enjoys seeing spiritual growth happen in the hearts and lives of his sons and daughters. But you know something? Jesus is our true model for the Christian life. Not necessarily anybody else other than Jesus. And if Jesus did certain things as he walked this earth, so should we do certain things as well. Now, I don't think there's anything spiritual or sacred about daybreak or a little bit before daybreak. But I do know this. There's a practical sense of this, because you see, somewhere on this planet is daybreak in there. That's right. It's probably out in the Pacific by now. But somewhere on this planet, at any given time, there's daybreak. There's dawn. There's pre-dawn. But why did Jesus do this? He did this so that he could give his undivided attention to God the Father at probably what was going to be one of his most alert times of the day. You know, it's quiet sometimes after midnight, but sometimes after midnight, our heads and our hearts are just not flowing at 100%. Therefore, I look at this particular principle, and I look at it and understand that there needs to be a time when we come apart with God the Father, where we can pray, where we can listen, where we can talk to God, and let God's thoughts begin to flood our hearts and minds. And if you're not availing yourself of that, you need to. You really need to. I remember a number of years ago, I took a prayer retreat, and I went out to Colorado, and I stayed in a place called the World Prayer Center. And unbeknownst to a lot of people, they have specific rooms where you can just stay. And what I did was I actually went fasting. And I stopped and I flew out there and went to the place and had a beautiful view of the mountains out the window. And I just stayed in my room. I just stayed in my room and I prayed and I talked with God. I had a tablet of paper. And I just asked God questions. And I waited for God to talk to me. And you know something? If I get tired, bang, I'd lay down, I'd go to sleep. I'd wake back up, grab my pad paper, I keep going. I'd ask questions. If it was quiet when it didn't seem like God was talking to me about anything, and I didn't want to talk to anything more about God, then I'd just sit there. You know, and it really strips your gears, really. Because we're used to, in this day and age, running as fast as we can go. We're used to, in this day, doing things busy. In fact, if it gets quiet for a length of time, we turn the radio on. We go for the TV. We check the internet. We look at Facebook. And I'm not against those things, folks. Please, don't misunderstand me. I'm not here saying, hey, you need to quit this and quit that and get this out of your house. No. But what I'm saying is this. If you really want to see a cure for a broken prayer life, you've got to give God some time. Now, you know something? You might not have the luxury of 2 or 3 days like I had in that particular instance. But can you give God a couple of hours? Can you give God a date here or there? When you do, if you fast, which is our 5th point, you just need to get along with God, get yourself a glass or a bottle of water, a pen and a paper, and go for it. And watch what God does. You see, heaven always sees whenever we take the time for God. He does. And you could be some interesting and amazing revelations away. You could be just a few moments away from that if you'll take the time to do that. I challenge you. Check it out. See if God won't meet with you, if you will meet with him. There's a verse in James that says, draw nigh to God, and he will draw nigh to you. In other words, get close to God, and he'll get close to you. Get close to God, and he will get close to you. Snuggle up with God, he's going to snuggle up with you. Whisper some things to God, he'll whisper some things to you. He wants to. Church, he loves you. He really does. He's committed to you. If he sent his son Jesus to suffer and die on the cross, and go through all of the things that he did, don't you think he just absolutely is head over heels in love with you, wants to spend some time with you, wants to share his heart with you? If you will listen, he will share it. The fifth thing is this: fasting. Fasting. In Psalm 35 and verse 13. Psalm 35 and verse 13. The Bible says, "Yet when they were ill, I put on sackcloth and humbled myself with fasting, when my prayers were turned to me unanswered." In other words, he's saying, you know something, when I prayed and I didn't get an answer, I humbled my soul and I fasted. And I did without a meal or a few meals. And I went on a water fast. You know, there's a lot of different fasts you can go. You can go on a Daniel fast, just eat fruit and vegetables. So, oh, John, now you're really meddling with me. You know something? Your food, this is one of the perks of fasting. Food tastes so much better. I'm telling you, I dare you, fast for a day, you will think macaroni and cheese is something that's gourmet off the Food Channel. And when you get to it, you know, it's just the way it works. Give your taste buds a little bit of a break, okay? And you will find that if you deny your physical self something in lieu of giving your spiritual part something, you will grow. You really will. Fasting is a way to ring the bell in heaven. Fasting is a way to show God you are super, super serious. Fasting is a way to intensify the focus of your spirit. Are you having a difficult time in controlling your thoughts or controlling your actions? Or are you having a difficult time with temptation? Is temptation kind of sneaking in the back door and hammering you in the back of the head? I want you to know that if you'll be serious about fasting every now and then, God will build the strength of your spirit, and you'll find you'll be able to say no to things that you know you need to say no to. It does. It strengthens you. It works. It's fantastic. And it increases the focus of your heart and life as you're in prayer with God. I'm telling you, it's kind of like pushing the turbo boost button in your prayer life. Huh? You ever see that? You know, cartoons or, when the cartoon characters are riding in a vehicle and they're not going fast, and then all of a sudden they lift up this lever and there's the turbo boost and they push that and kapow! You know, I'm telling you, that will do it for your prayer life. Try it. I dare you. Try it at home. Try it all over the place. The key thing is when you do, as Jesus says, don't let anybody else know that you're doing it. Or else you have your reward. That's what Jesus said. This is such a powerful thing that it can be used in the wrong way if you let people know that you're fasting. You fast in secret, Jesus said, God, your Father in heaven, will reward you openly. Would you like a reward? Would you like to be rewarded openly? Well, then you know what to do. Fast in secret. Fast in secret. One of the best ways that you can do this. Now, you say, well, how am I going to do that at home? My husband or my wife knows everything that I do. Well, then you're going to have to learn how to speak in code. Ann and I have a code. Whenever I fast and I'm not going to eat, she'll say, are you eating? I just say, no, I'm okay. And automatically in code, she knows the dude's fasting, leave him alone. Don't offer him another piece of food. Okay? She just knows that. And I, as well, all we have to do is say to one another, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. And that is code between the two of us. I encourage you to get a code word or whatever. You just speak it when someone asks you so that you know, not everyone has to know. But if you'll fast in secret, God will reward you handsomely, openly. It's a way to see a wonderful cure for a broken prayer life. It's a way to push the turbo boost in prayer. It's a way to increase the spiritual focus of your spirit. Your spirit needs to grow. It needs to be strengthened. And fasting is one of the tools, not the only tool, but one of the tools that God has decreed and determined that can be used for you and I to build us from the inside out. Those 5 things. Is your prayer life broken? And then I urge you,